Get it out of here.
Nobody wants it, right? All right, welcome in, everyone. You are watching Weather Unfiltered. I'm Mike Bettis.
I'm Alex Wilson here with Dr. Rick Knapp. I do feel like it's very, the thing to do to, snow blow over into their side. We'll let them deal with it.
You're the one.
Well, we do it with leaves down here in the south.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. You just push them over in somebody else's yard. It's their problem to deal with.
Well, it's not just how much we're seeing, but how fast it is falling.
Yes, it is falling crazy fast. Snowfall totals on the order of feet. We are beyond inches here. So now we are measuring the snow in feet.
Yeah.
Take a look. All right, so I think folks thought they were going to get out of town before the holiday rush started, and that would be the smarter, easier thing to do. Well, they tried. Those trying to beat the crowds at Rochester, New York's airport. It was not the security line causing the slowdown. It was the line waiting to be de-iced. That one always long for this airport, not too far from Chi-Li, New York. Now, Americans traveled in record numbers over the Thanksgiving holiday weekend. And with Christmas now falling on a Wednesday, we're looking at more travel records falling. Meteorologist Alex Wallace breaks down the predictions from AAA. Well, AAA says the weekends before Christmas and New Year's are expected to be the busiest ones. Travel times nationwide expected to be 30% longer. Mike?
All right, Alex, thank you very much for that.
All right, so you're fed up with these bitter winter temperatures. You just got to wait. We're swinging back from below average to above average and back again. But before we warm up, we do have to deal with a few days of cold. So we keep the layers on before you remove the big blanket from the bed. We're doing a lot of bed making, I feel like. By Sunday, look at this, 239 million people back above average, especially through the middle of the country. So those of you that are really cold now, we go from the flannel sheets to, your traditional wintertime sheets. Tomorrow morning, look at these lows. Fargo, 9 below. We've got 14 below in Duluth, 6 below in Minneapolis, 1 below in Madison, 3 below in Green Bay, 7 in Chicago. But again, with the wind, it feels colder than that. Same for the Northeast. We're going to start the day tomorrow, low to mid 20s from Bangor down towards New York, Washington, D.C., upper 20s for you, 15 in Buffalo, 14 in Binghamton. So New York will be cold. High temperatures tomorrow, 10 to 15 degrees below average, especially there through the Great Lakes and the Northeast. A little bit above average into the Mid-South and the Southern Plains. So we're starting to see that warmth show up. And for a place like Atlanta, Greenville, South Carolina, you're probably going to be right on the money for average. Now, cold air is shifting east tomorrow as that warmer air moves in, really makes its presence felt, really gets settled as we get into the weekend. So Saturday and Sunday will be warming up across the eastern half of the country and the South Central, man. By this weekend, you're 5, 10, 15 degrees above average, but that's going to carry over into a Detroit, into a Chicago, a Green Bay, and a Minneapolis. Notice a little bit of that cold air damming on the eastern side of the Appalachians from Georgia up through the Carolinas. But look at the rebound by Monday. Now a lot of the southeast, south central, really eastern half of the country above average, 242 million people to be exact. I counted. If it's the confectioner's sugar or the melting chocolate or the vanilla extract that you need, make sure you've got it. It is the goat of cookies. But if we're strictly doing a holiday cookie.
Thumbprint cookie.
Okay, thumbprint cookie. Dr. Knapp, what's yours?
Snickerdoodles with some colored sprinkles.
Look at you. That's very specific, too. Okay, well, I'm going to work on it, especially if I'm in Des Moines this weekend, because I'm not going anywhere. I'm cooking. Although you don't want me to cook too many cookies. I can make like one treat for Christmas, and that's the one I'm going to stick with. Davenport to Omaha to Grand Island to Spencer, southern and western parts of the state of Minnesota. This includes parts of the I-90 corridor. That winter weather advisory is in effect through Saturday morning. So the risk is for the freezing rain, and unfortunately that's going to make travel conditions really, really hazardous across the area. So we're going to be watching a lot of those interstates. Remember, bridges and overpasses especially, but it doesn't take much ice to make things really, really slick. Our western disturbance is steered eastward. We've got those upper level winds in the jet stream, some cold air in place, but aloft, we're going to see the warmer air. So again, we don't have snow coming down. It's going to be rain, and that warm, moist air flowing north is going to allow for a pretty decent layer of rainfall, but that very cold air hangs on at the surface. So cold air right at the surface, not super deep. That means we don't get those raindrops refreezing. We don't get sleet pellets. Instead, we have that rain that freezes right on contact. Now, to the north and northern sections of Iowa, southern parts of Minnesota, northeast parts of Nebraska. That's where we can see a little more of the wintry mix. So that's where you might see some sleet pellets. But down towards Des Moines, it's just such a shallow layer of that's when you start to see more tree damage and power outages. So, Mike, we got to think about that. Have the flashlights ready to go, too.
Sure.
You don't want to, a tree down onto a power line, then you're like, great, I'm in the dark, and there's ice everywhere.
100% on all that. But, yeah, please pee off the roads.
Yes.
This is going to be just really, really dangerous, so many of us.
But Joe did predict Navy was going to win, and then Army's play-by-play guy said, I think Army's going to win.
They both predict a close game.
Yeah, they do.
Army's really good this year, but don't sleep on Navy.
Yeah, and their uniforms are cool. The stories behind them are really
dude,
neat.
They've got some great uniforms.
Yeah.
Army's got the snowflakes on the
I kind of want one because I am a
really cool.
legendary bandwagoner.
Yeah?
Oh, 100%. I'm like, did you say good and cool shirts? I'm in.
I think they're honoring the 101st Airborne. It's going to be really awesome, just let alone just for the jerseys,
Yeah.
right? So there's the forecast again. We're hoping here pretty much worry-free weather-wise.
Yeah, honestly, this shouldn't be a factor, as you heard Joe say. We've got temps in the low 40s.
Yeah.
It's going to be bright. It's going to be dry. So, again, 40s in December. This is the time of year for that game. They're not
Right.
They're not going to be surprised.
It's just fine, right?
Yeah.
Now, as far as the weather goes on Sunday, we've got some issues in the middle of the country. We have some rain. Notice there in the northwest, we've got some snow back into the forecast, but there could be some small spots where you get a little bit of mix, too.
And milder, though. Did you see Dallas 75?
Yeah.
So those above average temps definitely coming in now for Nashville. Mid-50s, so cool rain. Not the coldest rain we've ever seen for the Bengals. I can't wait to see what Joe Burrow wears when he shows up. He's been wearing some very interesting fashion.
A onesie or something.
Yeah.
All right, so there's a lot at stake here. Two really good teams, interstate rivalry here.
Yeah.
Steelers traveling to Philadelphia to take on the Eagles here. In the last 8 weeks, these teams are 15-1 combined.
And it's an inter-show rivalry, too. Steelers, Eagles,
You're going
go Birds.
down.
No, I have to win
Get
this
my
one.
terrible